Hi, all my friends. Welcome back to Eileen's Craft Nook. Today I'm trying something new. Now I have these keychain molds, keychain, earring, whatever you want to use them for. I've had them for a while. I have a variety of them. I picked it up as a package from Amazon. I had a whole bunch of different ones. Today I'm working with the bear and the elephant. And I just added my black pigment powder from Reflections, and I'm going to fill these up. I'm not filling them up. I'm putting a layer in, but I'm not filling them up. So it's important that they're not filled up. I'm trying something that I saw another creator do, and I apologize. I cannot remember. I was just going through some YouTube videos, and she was doing some jewelry, and she did it with this method, and I hadn't seen anybody do it before. I don't know if it's been done before or not, but I found it very interesting. So of course, I had to take it up a notch. Instead of just doing a simple piece of jewelry, well, no, I got to pick, something bigger and with definitely a little more complicated. But that's okay. So for the elephant, instead of just doing black, I thought I would do like a marbled effect. Now I love this method of just taking these two colors and kind of pouring them together at the same time. I like the colors I get from it. I like how they look when they come out. You'll get a subtle effect on one side and you get a more dramatic effect on the other. And your colors for this one, you'll see that when they're done, the silver kind of takes over. But I just like this way of pouring if you're looking to mix a couple of colors together. I wouldn't really call it marble, but it is a nice way of pouring them when you want to mix, other than just pouring one and then pouring a second one. I think this actually gives you a better blending of the colors. So here I am just getting these little tiny little trunks in here. Would try not to spill it too much and still trying to get both colors in. And of course their tiny little tails are the same way, because I really don't want to take my dotting tool and mix these, although I do take it to check for any bubbles around the edges before I move on. So again, I'm not filling these. I'm just doing it part way because I am going to be doing another effect with these, in which I'm going to be adding more resin. So this is just the first part of the project. So we're going to finish getting these poured, and then we're going to let them dry for just a while. I want them at the point where I can take them out without leaving my fingerprints on it, but they're still flexible. So here we are. I actually had to let these sit overnight. I kept checking them, and they were still too wet to take out, and it was leaving fingerprints and everything. And so finally I just went to bed, and I thought, well, if they're too hard by the morning, then I'm just not going to worry about it. But I got up in the morning, and they were still pretty flexible. So you can see me taking them out. And I knew they would take longer to dry, because the thinner it is, the longer it takes to dry. Now you can see in that little bear, he had some kind of wrinkles under his neck. That's because I tried to take it out last night before it was ready to come out. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut this resin. So I tried it a couple different ways. I tried it with my scissors, and I tried it with X-Acto knife. The scissors definitely are easier to work with, so I went back to working with the scissors. But what I'm doing is I'm cutting a section out of the bear, and then I'm going to put it back into the mold. Now with these molds, it's a little bit trickier because it has the little hole in it to put a key ring through or to put your earring hardware through. So you have to fit it back over top of that little hole. Now what I did here to make sure, because I wanted the two pieces to match, is I took the first one, held it over the second one so I could cut at the same part. And that's what I did, so that these two, just in case you want to make them earrings, that they would match each other. And then with Mama Bear, I got a little more fancy, and I thought, well, maybe I'll do a couple of lines. So I thought, well, this is where I tried my X-Acto knife, and I have a fresh blade in here, so it is fairly sharp, but the resin is too soft to cut properly. You can make your lines in it, but it just wasn't going to cut. So back to the scissors we went. It really was easier. And little Mama Bear here, I'm cutting her right in half, and then I'm going to add a third section in as well. After I was done, I saw the finished piece. I probably should have just left it with that middle piece, but I added the third one in here as well. So there we go. So there's our bears. Now here's our elephants. Now this is the one I did where I poured together. You can see that silver took over, but take a look at the back. This is what I was talking about, where you can get like a more impact on one side and it's more subtle on the other side. So, when you do this method where you mix it, like I love that. I mean, depends what you're looking for, but I definitely like where you take the two colors and you pour them at the same time. So I'm going to do the same thing with elephants that I did with the bears. I'm just going to cut some pieces out. Then I'm going to fit them back into the molds. And I'm going to do the same thing with Mama Bear, or sorry, not Bear, Mama Elephant. And I'm going to kind of looked at it and thinking, did I want to do the same thing as I did with the elephant? Where did I want to cut her to have that negative space? But you can see I just kind of went across her neck here. I do save the resin you have left over when you're done. Save those pieces. You could use those for other things. I just have a bucket of resin pieces or little jewelry pieces and stuff that I've had in the past. Now, I have these gold flakes. I picked them up from Dollar Tree. You can see they're crafter square. I have the gold and the silver. Thought that was a pretty good deal. I mean, when you get this stuff, unless you're using a whole lot of it, it does go a long way. Now, I'm using this along with my UV resin. And what I'm going to do is I put some UV resin in one of my little pots. And I'm just brushing it along the edges where I cut these pieces. And then I'm going to add the flakes to those edges, and I want them to come across. I want them to be on the very edge, and then I also want them to be a little bit on the front and on the back as well. Now, I do apologize, guys. I wasn't paying close attention to my camera here when I was working, and I'm kind of out of frame for some of this footage. But you can see, well enough what I'm doing here by adding that foil. I tried a brush, I tried my silicone tool, I tried a couple different things. I kept going back to the brush. I found that's what worked best to get that foil to go on without making a big mess, and that's what I use. So, and then I just use my UV light to do like a little quick set, and then when I was done, I put it under my big UV light to give it a better to fully set that UV resin. So yeah, here I was out of camera, not even paying attention. I was fully immersed in getting this foil, which is kind of a pain to work with because it does tend to, I don't know, kind of gets all over, doesn't go where you want it to go. But it does really make a pretty impact once it's done. So here I'd switched over to my silicone tool. You can't really see it, but this is where, I was kind of getting frustrated with the brush, and then I thought, well, I'll try the silicone tool. Then I went back to the brush. Yeah. Anyways, so, and then, it's kind of fiddly things, so you see me playing around, but I do end up doing all the the bear with the gold, and there I am just giving that quick little cure, and then I'll put all the pieces under the UV usually put it on for the 90 seconds, then I'll flip it over to the other side for the 90 seconds. Now, I am going to be using more resin here, so, they don't have to be, I want them to be fully cured so that they cure with the resin, but, it doesn't have to be perfect. So, all right, so I finished the bear, and then we're going to move over to the elephant. With the elephant, we're going to use the silver foil. I just thought the silver, sorry guys, this is even more out of frame. Just doing the same method with the elephant as I did with the bear, though. I just took the silver, and I'm adding it to all the cut edges only. And then once I'm done, I'm going to place these pieces back into my molds, push them back down in before I move to the next step. Now you'll see when I am putting these in, I'm giving them a good push down In my end product, some of the clear resin did come up underneath, but that's okay because it's just clear resin. You can do top coat that will fix that anyways, or a bottom coat. I just wanted to make sure. I just used my dotting tool to push them all in to get them back into the so that they were good and snug back into the mold. Now, for our next step, sorry, I lost some of the footage here, but I had some really pretty glass. You can see here, I already started with the bear. I had these glass stones. They were called, picked them up from the local Dollar Tree or dollar store. And so with the bear, I decided to go with the green. And what I did was I mixed up some UV resin. I put the little stones in, did a little quick dry, do a quick set with my light, and then I added some more UV resin. So that's what I did here. I'm not filling up the mold with UV resin. I'm just setting those stones with it. And then with my elephant, I had these pretty blue glass pieces. I picked these up from Michael's. If you keep your eye open, you can get these on sale for the in the seasonal stuff. But that's what I'm using the elephant. So you can see I just add a little bit of UV resin. I add some of my stone, the little glass pieces in there, and then I'll add a little more UV resin and then stick it under my light to set it. Now, when I do put these under the UV light, I am doing the top and then I turn them over and did the bottom because you want that UV resin to be cured at the bottom as well, because if you don't and you pour your regular resin in here to finish these off, that UV resin will still be sticky when you're done. So make sure you're doing it from both sides. That's why having these molds are see through from the bottom. So they they cure pretty not too bad when you flip them over. So top cured, flip it over, then do the bottom. So I'm just finishing off these bears with these little green shards of glass, and just kind of putting them, poking them in there to fit in, and getting them all cured up before I move to the next step. And I did cure these for 3 minutes on each side. So our next step is I've mixed up some clear epoxy resin. This is a 1-to-1 just resin, and I'm just going to fill up these molds. So I'm just pouring it in to finish filling them up, because as you remember, we didn't fill these up all the way when we first started. We just did part way. So that's all we're doing here is we're just taking our time, take my time, and getting these filled up. And sorry about that, dogs. Yeah, so just getting these filled up using my little dotting tool, make sure that there's no bubbles, and that I have these. It's kind of hard to see with the clear UV, not the UV, the clear epoxy resin. Make sure that you've got all the spots filled in as well. And so our next step is just to let these dry, get the bubbles out, and then we'll move on to let these dry overnight, and then we'll be ready to unmold them. I will see you then. Our pieces are dry. So I just wanted to show you the cats I did with the extra resin. Um, so you can see them from this side or that side. So obviously this is a bolder statement, but I really think these are cute. So let me just get them all out here and then we'll take a look at them from both sides. So there's this one. And then from this side, this guy. And this one. I think this is my favorite on this one. I love it. It looks like stripes on it. Okay, so there's the kitties. So let's take a look at our bear and elephants. How pretty they came out. Need a little bit of trimming, not much. So there it is from the back side. And here it is from the front side. I think these came out beautiful. Same with this one. Here it is from the back side and the front side. Will these be pretty as earrings? Okay, let's take a look at the elephants. A little bit of trimming to do, not much. A little bit here on the tail. So there's one side. Oh, look at that. These are gorgeous from either side. This little guy. There's the back side. Depends which pattern you like. The bolder pattern on the back side or the more subtle pattern. But I think these turned out really nice. I think these will be... I wouldn't wear this as a necklace myself. It's kind of big. Well, I guess depending on what you're wearing. But these would make nice keychains. And these would make, either a nice small pendant or they'll make really cute earrings. Either way, I'm very pleased with how these came out. I'll bring it in for a closer look. I'll turn that light off so it's not shining. And let me just bring you in for a closer look. Slide out of the road. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you prefer, the elephants or the bears? All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.